Recently in LinkedIn, I saw a comment which I thought was really thought provoking and interesting. This comment was actually made by Mr. Meher Tata. He's a CTO and he has a financial background as well. He was a CA and so on, I think. So let's get into it. What he said is AI by itself cannot have accountability structurally because it has nothing to lose. Only humans and corporations can be accountable because a broken promise has economic consequences. In the long term, this means that the only remaining job will be risk underwriter. You will receive a premium to be held accountable when things go south, basically insurance. So this is an extremely thought-provoking comment, in my opinion, because what he is essentially saying is uh, semi-autonomous systems will do most of the jobs of the future, right? Say driving a car, okay, AI will do it. Balancing your books, AI will do it. Teaching, AI will do it. Surgery, AI will do it. Arguing for justice, AI will do it. Everything AI will do it. So what does the human do? Well, or a corporation do? Corporation must uh, guarantee something, and if things go wrong, someone must be held accountable so that uh, bad consequences have a equal and proportionate uh, equal and proportionate opposition, right? So as progress happens, I think we also need we wish for security guarantees in all sorts of human spheres of activity, right? So that was his view. So now let's go a little bit ahead. I don't know whether any of you know what this is about. So this is a picture of uh, uh, Hammurabi. You know Hammurabi's code. So Hammurabi was a king, famous king, Babylonian king historically, and he actually came up with some of the very first laws, right? Different kind of laws, and most of these were like if then mode. You know, even in India we have people like Chanakya. In China you had people like Han Fei. Different people were making laws. You know, and the whole idea was things go wrong in society all the time, and how do we deal with it? Yeah. So, for example, Hammurabi had laws like there is a structural failure, right? If a house collapses and kills the owner, then the builder must be executed. So then the builder has a reason to be careful. The builder must design, right? Design things better. Or if there is damage to owner's son, then the builder's son is also executed. So this sort of things, right? Compensation, damage, prevention, right? How do we do this? And also quality standards. Yeah. So there are these components to it, right? And that was a very interesting perspective, right? So this is where Mr. Mehriar is coming from, right? This is the view, right? How do you deter? How do you deter dangerous activities in society? Now we'll move forward in history and actually look at some other ways of thinking about this. So there was someone called Admiral Ricoeur. Ricoeur was the person who in Navy introduced the idea of nuclear submarines and made it practical, right? And during his time, this was almost seen as an impossible idea because Manhattan Project was going on, and it was seen as a bomb. You know, atom bomb, right? It is related to atomic energy is related to bomb at that time. So it is very tricky thing to even to think that you can change this energy and put it into productive purposes. He was taking it into national defense, right? So nuclear submarines, and he made it very safe. Okay, he made it safe. And how did he make it safe? In a very such a dangerous technology, such a new technology, right? Nuclear power, nobody knew how to harness in an intelligent way. And his primary concept was responsibility. So here is his quote on responsibility. What he said is responsibility is a unique concept. It can only reside and inhere in a single individual. So look at the wording here. Mr. Meharia said that accountability can be in human or corporation, right? But Ricoeur is even more harsher here. He's saying only the individual can bear the consequence because even if you look at the organization, at the end of the day, someone must be held responsible, right? So that is what he's getting into. Even people like Elon Musk and so on insists that there must be a name behind every requirement. You cannot hide behind even an organization name or whatever, because at the end of the day, it is that one person is responsible for certain thing. So you may share it with others, but your portion is not diminished. Wonderful quote, right? So you can share your responsibility with others. So you can say, hey, 10 people are in my team, and that is what the reason this bad outcome. You can say, but the thing is, all 10 of you are equally responsible. So that is the idea of responsibility it brings, and each person is responsible for the whole. Right? You may delegate it, but it is still with you. Delegation means someone may execute, but you are still responsible. You may disclaim it, but you cannot divest yourself of it. You cannot escape it. So responsibility is yours, and you cannot give any uh, escape hatches for it. You cannot evade. You cannot say I don't know. You cannot say you cannot pass the buck. You cannot do anything. You are responsible. So when something goes wrong, there has to be one guy, right? One person, and if everyone is responsible, probably no one is, as they say, right? So this is another perspective about responsibility. So from this AI angle, right? Again, this is something we have to give a big thought to. Yeah. How do we make people responsible for systems which they do not even understand, right? So what all AI will do, we cannot say, right? Even at a societal level, we cannot say what each individual will do. But still, the government says, hey, we will give you justice. right? So that is the whole idea of the state. Even in any of these complex endeavors, the whole thing is, even if it looks like impossible to take responsibility, we somehow figure out a way to take responsibility, right? So this is another person, Hub Simon. Yeah, Hub Simon wrote a very important book called Sciences of the Artificial. I think this is also very, very important, something which he has brought up, right? What he has said is engineering, medicine, business, architecture, painting, and all these many of these fields are concerned not with the necessary, but with the contingent, right? Not with how things are, but how they might be. In short, with design. So this whole book, right, the sciences of the artificial, is another way of saying it is the science of design. Okay? So what he said is, so most of the modern things, engineering is about design, medicine is about design, business is about design, architecture is about design. It's all about shaping the outcome somehow, right? Using all our intelligence, all our resources, all our capabilities, entire creative thinking, and our energies and our focus and our scholarship, right? Everything, using everything to try to shape the design and to shape the consequences to the best of our ability, right? Making things happen the way we want it, right? That is what design is about. And what he said is, all these modern jobs is about design. Yeah, design is the first class. It's an intellectual discipline, and it is not about decoration. It's about taking a situation and turning it into a preferred options. Right? These are our preferred things. Yeah. So this applies to architecture, policy, organization, UI, economics, everything. So it is about consequences, right? And he again brings in this complexity perspective here, right? The relation of program to environment open up an exceedingly important role for computer simulation as a tool for achieving a deeper understanding of human behavior. We couldn't understand human at a very micro level back then, right? So this was before AI. For it is the organization of components and not their physical properties that largely determine behavior. And if computers are organized somewhat in the image of a man, then the computer becomes an obvious device for exploring the consequences of alternative organizational assumptions for human behavior. So essentially, what he's saying is each AI is AI piece. Each agent is like a human, and now we are going to organize all these agents into coherent units, and we have to organize them in such a way that harm is not going to befall on humanity, right? So we have potentially harmful organizations. For example, we have armies, but then the army is put under the control of the prime minister. So even if there is a coup, then the people put them in place again, right? So this is the idea, which is that we use all sorts of intelligent organization to keep a potentially dangerous power under control and the way we want it. So the whole things are designed so that the results are the way we want it, right? So this is what Simon is saying, and so how all this relates to Mr. Meher's commentary is, see, insurance is one thing, deterrence is one thing, but in the modern view, we must take responsibility for these complex outcomes, right? And how do we do it? We do it by designing, right? We have to design the systems. We have to think of new organizations. We have to put together things in a sensible way so that the harm is minimized and benefits are maximized. So that I hope gives you an idea of how I think about AI and how to shape the future with AI. Thanks. I want to take 2 minutes of your time introducing Git LRC to you. Git LRC is a free micro AI code review tool that runs on Git commit as you develop software with agents. As you know, AI can write a lot of code, but your team still owns the outcome. With AI, code generation is not a problem, but consequence management is. Who has to answer for outages, security incidents, broken promises, and customer complaints? It is still the engineer and engineering team and engineering management and so on. So you may delegate execution to AI a little bit, but you cannot delegate responsibility. Git LRC provides micro AI code reviews on Git commit. This improves production stability, security, performance, while reducing bugs, latency, and cost. And all this Git LRC delivers while demanding very little engineering effort. Here is a quick demo of Git LRC. So you open Git as usual, you do a Git status, there are changes, and you trigger a review with Git commit. And the updates you can see in real time. And quickly you see a return of summary, right? What is the change about? You get an immediate summary in a very clear viewer web UI as well. And the issues are categorized by severity, warning, critical, and so on. And you can see cost bugs, security bugs, and other issues as well. So Git LRC is a source available piece of software. So you can go to GitHub and read the entire source code in github.com/xmostech/gitlrc. And for teams, the pricing is extremely affordable, $32 you can get started with, and you can scan 100,000 lines of code per month. We don't have any headcount based pricing. We don't charge per engineer head how many people are there and so on. The pricing is extremely simple. So we charge you can get started with $32 per month for any number of users, unlimited team members, and you get all the features for review, PR threads, GitHub, GitLab bucket integration, and AI credits are also included in this. And of course, all the micro reviews and VS Code extension and other things. Everything is included in this. So for $32, this is one of the best value for money you can get on the market in terms of code review. And you can increase the tier if you wish. So go to xmos.com/gitlrc and see it for yourself.